Hey guys, welcome to Wrestling Daze and welcome to today's Smackdown review and opinions video. So big thank you to everyone that joined us for our watch along. Really do appreciate that. I found it fun, but a little bit frustrating because obviously having to take into consideration our neighbours can be a little bit louder now as well because, well, it's just past 7 in the morning. But obviously when you're streaming at like 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, you got to be very considerate. And we don't normally have to be considerate. We don't normally have neighbours to really worry about. So I'd say that was kind of quite restrictive. But I think people understand, I think people understand that we are a bit limited at the moment. Thankfully, the internet was pretty good, actually. We had one dropout right at the start, but then really the rest of it was pretty good. So can't really have too many complaints there. So I suppose in a way, I hope people got something from it. I hope that people enjoyed it, got some sort of entertainment out of it, and we'll be back doing it again on Monday for Raw, and then we will be back to normal after that. I travel back on Tuesday, so our first normal back stream should be Evolve, but we're definitely back by SmackDown next week, and definitely back by Night of Champions. And talking about Night of Champions, this felt like a show that was very important for Night of Champions. We had Jacob and Solo made for Night of Champions. We obviously found out Randy has progressed to the final. We found out that Asuka progressed to the final. We had the kind of, maybe not finishing touches for Cena and Punk, but an interesting segment where Cena kind of did his own pipe bomb. And it was fine. It was fun. People on our watch along seemed to really enjoy it. And I was entertained by it. So, yeah, that was good. I thought the middle of the show kind of dipped a bit. I felt that the start was good with Asuka and Alexa because obviously that mattered. The LA Knight thing, I'm not sure that was the strongest open to the show. But, I mean, it's great for LA Knight. They're really invested in him. So if you're an LA Knight fan, you're eating goods. Obviously, we had this news announced that next week looks to be a pretty big SmackDown. And actually, the Wyatt Six are going to get an opportunity to go after those tag titles. People have asked, do we think the Wyatt Six are going to win? I think they absolutely could. I don't think they're going to. I just sort of feel like it might be a bit too easy for them. They have only won one tag match since coming back. They beat Motor City Machine Guns. I don't know if they don't need to maybe beat DIY and beat Fraxium, and I don't know. I mean, just one win over Motor City, and now you face the tag champs. Is that enough? Is that what people are looking for? I don't know. I kind of feel like we've gone from this really deep, really rich, very storyline driven group to now a group that are getting tag title opportunities after one win in the tag division. So, I mean, I'm not down on it. I want the best for the Wyatt Six, and I think them being tag champs could be pretty fun. Certainly it sets up a match against DIY for the titles, of course. So I see the logic, but don't know. I'm a bit split as to whether they should or shouldn't. I'd like to see them, face some obstacles, have to overcome some things first. Maybe try and beat all the other tag teams, or at least give us some vignettes, promos talking about how much it means to them, how much it matters to them, why would winning tag gold mean so much to the Wyatt Six? We've not had any of that. Not had anything like that. I mean, maybe we can get some stuff on their social media channels over the next 7 days, the next week. But I can't have been the only one that was surprised to see they were getting a tag title opportunity so quickly. So, I don't know, it's left me a bit split as to whether they should win it or not. But yeah, okay. Let's work through your comments, and we can obviously touch on anything we've not touched on already. I'm thinking this show's around a 7. around a 7. I think that there was definitely things here that mattered. I think the closing segment is interesting. People will obviously be talking about that for a while. I felt a bit sorry for R-Truth. Kind of felt like he was an afterthought. Kind of felt like really that was more a Cena promo on Punk segment than it was a Cena versus R-Truth segment. But again, let's see what you lot had to say. So we got Truth said, honestly, it wasn't great, but the card was stacked. I shipped my pants. Says Triple H loves run-ins and matches with no finish. Not bad, but not great. 69 out of 100. Yours truly, I shipped my pants. Ira says Cena. And Wrestling Fan said, I thought it was all right. I think the Cena promo was definitely the best part of the night, other than the tour. Thanks, bud. Brendan said, Karrion Kross having a farewell match on main event and leaving WWE has been debunked. The good soldier nod was simply a sign of professionalism. I've not seen anything on that. I mean, to be honest, I've not seen any rumours that Karrion has had a farewell match. I think the noise would have been louder if that was true, to be honest. So I was not under the impression that Karrion had a farewell match or anything. But yeah, I think people are definitely concerned because Karrion's contract is meant to be coming up later this year. And so the less we see of Karrion, the closer it gets to his contract expiring, I think the more people are probably panicking and worrying. And so that might be where that rumour kind of came from. Juan said, I think the promo from Cena confirmed that WWE wasn't the petty ones in the American Gladiator stuff, because Cena did mention Claudio, who is in AEW, said Juan. I don't really see that personally, but well, I suppose I can see what you're saying, that they mentioned an AEW star, but I mean, you would have to know that he was in AEW, if you know what I mean. Like, when it comes to American Gladiators, they're going to introduce like Wardlow and everyone as specifically AEW superstars, and maybe even like show some AEW footage and promote AEW, whereas this was just a mention of a wrestler who just happens to be in AEW, but there was no mention of AEW. So that's why I think those two are very different things. Mitchell said, it was an all right show. I don't feel like any of the matches really reached banger status, but the Cena promo at the end was an all-timer in my opinion, really. The show gets 6, 7, 5, 7, but the Cena promo, a free drink in the 8 Club. Wow. I was not that blown away by the Cena promo. So I'm quite surprised, Mitchell, saying that, because me and Mitchell are normally quite close on stuff. I think the Cena promo was fine. I said during the watch along, I think it was a bit of a tribute band. Obviously, it's based on the Pipe Bomb, and the Pipe Bomb is like one of the most iconic promos. And I feel like what I just saw was a tribute to the Pipe Bomb, and it was good. It was fine. I didn't think it was anything that special, to be honest. But yeah, okay, interesting. Kiki gives it 5 out of 5. Bubba Joe said it was a good show, but the ads make it difficult to watch. All I want to say is the main event was such a deep callback. I didn't even realize what was happening until commentary mentioned it. Truth, Punk, Cena, Table, Pipe Bomb wouldn't have been the same had Truth stay released, says Bubba Joe. Adam, shout out to you, but don't know what this is. It's an explosion. That's what we've got. And Raymond said, Daze, I thought Smackdown tonight was all right. Matches were decent, and the show was good, to say the least. I'd have to rate it a 7.25. Shout out to you. See you Monday. And I'm very excited for Smackdown next week. Smackdown next week looks very good. Wrestling Positivity said, pretty good overall. The Cena promo was great. Both Money in the Bank matches were good. And the LA Knight segments were good as well. Opulus Travels said it was a good show. Wasn't great, but it was good. Giving it a 6. Michael said Cena was facing R-Truth when Punk cut the pipe bomb in 2011, and now in 2025, Cena was facing R-Truth when he did his own rendition of the pipe bomb against Punk. I've been hating the Cena heel turn, but the promo was fire, so 7, says Michael. WWE Ethan said, I thought the show was really lackluster. WWE at the moment feels really soulless with the advertising in your face all the time. Cena copying CM Punk's pipe bomb felt unoriginal. The only good thing on the show was Jacob and Solo segment. Really feeling out of touch with WWE nowadays. I don't know. Yeah, I sort of feel like WWE has got something missing at the moment. And I don't think Seth's group is filling that void. The other thing as well is that we have Cena on his retirement run. And that's obviously carrying quite a weight. And I think there's a few mixed opinions as to how that's going as well, you know. There's quite a few people that have been struggling with the Cena heel turn. And finding that his promos just really lay into the crowd. I suppose in a way people will be grateful that this wasn't a promo just going off on the crowd. We've had quite a lot of those from Cena since he turned heel. This one at least is obviously pipe bomb connected, and I think the mentions of like Claudio, Nick Nemeth, whatever, that obviously catches the ear. Matt Cardona getting a mention. That kind of catches the ear, kind of adds a little bit more to the promo, and it's based on the pipe bomb as well. So, yeah, I sort of feel like that's doing quite a bit of heavy lifting, but I don't think the Cena heel run or the Seth group, I don't think that can carry the weight that the Bloodline story used to carry. You know, if you think back to 2023, 2024, and just how good Bloodline were, I don't think that we're that level, personally. But I don't know. There's some good bits that are in there as well. I'm not like totally down on it. And I'm certainly not down on this show. As I said, I gave it a 7. I was entertained. I do think there's bits where it kind of dips down. I don't think there was anything OMG or mind-blowing here, personally, for me. So I think a 7 is fair. And actually, I think we're getting quite a few of those 7s coming through. So, yeah. I was honestly pretty entertained. It's fine, acceptable. That's the way I would say. Good in places. Austin, not as keen by the looks of it, said Smackdown was pretty dull tonight. It went by slow. The only thing that I liked was Asuka advancing, and I hope she wins the tournament. Randy versus Sammy, Fatu and Solo segment, and I like Cena's promo. I'm going to go 625, says Austin. Taker 1990 said Smackdown was a 7. Cena's promo was horrible. It made no sense. I think Cena was drunk. We all know that WWE promotes alcohol. Cena was much worse than Jay when he was out of breath. Asuka and Alexa's match was the best match. Randy and Sammy's match was second. Shout out to you, Daze. Taker 1990, shout out to you, buds. Las Vegas Matt said, I'm confused. If Night of Champions is next weekend, why are we doing all these championship matches on SmackDown? And for that matter, you would assume that they would have given Julia Zelina 10 minutes at least for a promo. Same for the Street Profits and Wyatt 6. Not a fan, so 6 out of 10. Well, I think they're trying, and I can't blame them for doing it, actually. They're trying to build up Raw and SmackDown around pay-per-views because, you know, look, the ratings for Raw are obviously important. Netflix has got 5-year kind of commitment, and they can take another, I think, 5 years. There is like an option to take even more time, and obviously WWE want them to do that. So it's in WWE's best interest to try and make Raw as interesting as possible. Not that you would know it from this year at times, but it is in their interest. And I suppose the same is true with SmackDown as well, in the sense of they're on USA Network. It's their only presence on that channel. And, you know, you've got NXT on CW Network as well. But, like, yeah, they're trying. And don't forget, internationally as well, they're on Netflix. So, you know, I suppose you're trying to deal with two different networks for those shows. Like, ratings matter at the end of the day. Ratings matter. I don't think just because they've got their TV deals, they can sort of just rest on the laurels. So I think a few championship matches, the way that Triple H is booking, the fact that, you know, these pay-per-views are not like pay-per-views back in the day where you was charging $50 and you would just stack them. You would put everything on them so that people would buy the pay-per-view and pay that money. Instead now, because it's all just on Netflix and Peacock, whatever, you've got a bit more freedom to kind of put some of those other championship matches onto Raw, onto SmackDown, to try and encourage people to watch those shows, get those ratings up, and hopefully extend your lifespan on Netflix. So I kind of get why they do it. Whether they pick the right matches or not, I'm not sure. But yeah, I sort of get that aspect. But I do agree with you about the fact that Julia Zelina didn't get a promo or anything, or we didn't hear from the Wyatt Six. I do agree with you. That was strange. Dean said, I thought SmackDown was okay. I knew Asuka was going to win, but I wanted Alexa, and I was hoping that Sammy would win, but now he'll probably feud with Cross. Love the stream, and I'll see you for Raw. Dean, shout out to you, buds. Brady said, Alexa Asuka was fantastic. I was surprised Alexa lost clean. Alexa appeared in 3 different segments, and that made me happy. And I'm excited to see where Alexa and Charlotte's story goes. Alexa's shirt was more Fiend-like. John Cena's promo tonight was amazing, says Brady. El Patata said 2 weeks of Julia not showing up. Fatu doesn't have one challenger for his title. No one helped LA Knight. Jay doesn't help Jimmy. Nia and Tiffany paused their feud for 6 months for no reason. Yeah, really not keen on that feud. Chelsea with the same clown character since December. John Cena is the most beatable champion of all time, not JC. The fact that no one is able to beat him is a joke. Giving it a 4. Asuka won clean, and that was highly appreciated, says El Patata. Parker, Tiffy Time, said, it was not good days. I felt bored at times until the Tiffany segment. It was good, but I'm a little worried for next week because it's a last woman standing match for the title and Naomi could cash in. So it might be over for my GOAT Tiffany. I also enjoyed the end of SmackDown with Cena recreating the pipe bomb. What are your thoughts on the Tiffany segment and the Cena segment? Glad you're back from vacation. Well, we're not back. We're still on vacation, but we are still putting in that work. My feeling on the Cena promo was that it was good, entertaining. I wasn't down on it. I don't think it's all-time or mind-blowing or anything like that. I do think that there will be people online that get really carried away with it. And I don't think it was anything that level. But I was entertained by it. You know, I thought that it was interesting. And as we said earlier, probably better than him just going off on the crowd again. In regards to Tiffany, I'm struggling, to be honest. I'm struggling with her and her segment because I'm struggling with the segment because it's a feud with Nia that we've seen before. People don't really care. It does present an opportunity for Naomi to cash in. And, yeah, that could happen. But equally, I wouldn't be surprised if Nia stops Naomi. And actually, Naomi and Nia end up going into a bit of a feud whilst Tiffany moves on to something else. So she could survive. I think in regards to Tiffany, I want to see her go into a feud where we can actually dig into her as a person a bit more again. I want to find a bit more depth to her character. I find she comes out and she just talks about it's Tiffy time and how she's the best champion and you're not going to take this belt away from me. And it's really pretty surface standard stuff. I'd like to go deeper. I'd like quite a personal feud. I think her feud with Charlotte was really interesting. People were like really down on it because of the way that Charlotte acted and, you know, kind of a bit of a test really. But it was interesting, and going into WrestleMania, it was arguably the most interesting match outside of the main events. So it definitely worked. So, you know, people were really excited to see that match, wondered if they were going to shoot on each other, you know. And I sort of feel like now Tiffany is just sort of bobbing along, really. Needs something really creative, needs something that's going to dig into her character. So I wouldn't be down on that. You know, have Nia and Naomi go into a feud and then give Tiffany something substantial to kind of get her teeth into. That would be good. John Elite says, Wyatt seeks street profits for the titles next week, ? I thought Hikuleo was going to show up tonight during the solo Jacob segment. I think he finally will show up in Saudi. Love the video package for Punk and Cena. And today is 14 years to the day for Punk's pipe bomb. I don't know. It could be. It could be. That might be why they did it. To kind of, you know, pay respects to that original segment. I don't know. I wouldn't have done it for that reason, honestly. I wouldn't have done it for... I wouldn't have done it for that purpose. You know, anniversaries and things like that, I don't know. It kind of feels... I'd much rather it be organic. It seems a bit forced. Like, I'm sure John knew that CM Punk was going to come down during his match, and so in his mind, he had an idea to do the pipe bomb. But if they have done that segment on the anniversary of the original pipe bomb, it starts to feel a little bit contrived. It feels a little bit... That's why we've done it, you know, rather than it just being organic. So, yeah, I don't know. If they've done it on the anniversary of it, then not for me. But I actually don't know if that was the anniversary. Nishi said, Cena's promo was amazing. LA Knight Orton were great on the mic. Orton Sammy was the best match, and that solo Jacob segment slapped hard. The Night of Champions card is an all-timer with great matches. I'm going to give Smackdown an 8, said Nishi. Uncle Howdy Dreads, shout out to you, said it was an okay show. Disappointed, no Wyatts. We could have got a message or a build. I agree. 6 out of 10. Are you the 6th member of the Wyatts? I didn't even realize, you know, I think subliminally I've picked this hat up because I like the look of it. I wonder if it is because of Bray that I like the look of it. I don't know. It's not... I did not put those pieces together, honestly. So let's say yes. Let's say that is the reason why. Chris, shout out to you. Said, Daze, it was fun. Gonna go a 7. I like the storyline progression tonight. John's promo wasn't bad, but I enjoyed it much more the first time when Punk did it. Speaking of Punk, I think the Slim Jim table killed him. I know. He was down for a while, wasn't he? I think Truth got screwed. He had like 5 minutes versus Cena. Chris, I hear you. I hear you. Jay said, what a great show. SmackDown has not lived up to expectations lately, but tonight was great. Glad to see Randy and Asuka go into King of the Ring final. LA Bronson was solid. And the ending of the night with an amazing Cena promo. So my rating is an 8. Ryan said, rumor is Cena did all his own producing and writing of his stuff tonight, which I can believe. Maybe we can have him write the rest of the show because the quality of what he can deliver versus everything else on the show is incredible, says Ryan. Morningstar said a little throwback to the original Pipe Bomb was great. It was a good promo, but it's not Cena's greatest, as people say. This just proved that a silent heel Cena hasn't done anything good for the character, but it was a good show, said Morningstar. Matthew said it was a great show, and I can see a tag team forming between Alexa and Charlotte. Hopefully Alexa goes back to the goddess gimmick. Cena's Pipe Bomb was fantastic, and a shout out to Nick and Cardona from TNA. So 8 out of 10, says Matthew. Wrestling fan since day one. I don't think was a fan. Cenas said it was a really fun episode of Smackdown. Cena's Pipe Bomb was the best thing he's done since his heel turn. The whole main event segment, including the match, was amazing. Jacob and Solo's promo exchange was great. Next week's Smackdown looks great, especially the Wyatt 6 tag team title match. So 9 out of 10, and enjoy the rest of your holiday. Cenas, thank you, my friends. Wild Child Billy said, all I'm saying is Zelina had better retain next week. I know I'm biased, obviously, but I've got to support my friend. And also, she deserves a long reign. At least 100 days. Julia can win it once Zelina hits at least 100 days, said Wild Child Billy. Jade said, in Los Santos, neighbors get no sleep. Jade, thank you. Uncle Howdy Dreads says, have a yowie wowie vacation. Thank you, my friend. Cookie Kid on Fire says, boring, maybe? I'm thinking boring. Exceptionally average. Gives a thumbs up. Tribal Chief said it was an amazing episode of Smackdown. Thanks for the live stream. Love the view behind you. Can't wait for next week's Smackdown. So overall, an 8. Thank you, buds. And All Game 17 said, I thought Smackdown was pretty mid. I usually rate Smackdown good, but in my opinion, Smackdown was just not that great. The only thing that I saw I saw Alexa a lot. Qualifiers were good. Rest of the matches were mid. John's promo was entertaining, but no Wyatt segment, so 4 out of 10. Wow, a real mixed bag there. Some people saying they loved it and it was a 9 and an 8. Some people kind of more 6.5, 7 range, which is where I was. And then some people like really down on the show. So definitely a show that I think divided opinion. A show that, I don't know, I think it definitely progressed things. We obviously had matches that mattered with the qualifiers. We obviously had an interesting closing segment. And, we obviously built on the whole Solo Jacob thing as well. So, yeah, things definitely happened. Things progressed. And, yeah, I didn't hate it, honestly. I've given it a 7. I wouldn't go above a 7, personally. It's definitely my limit. 6, 7, 5, 7. I'm that kind of range. I was entertained. It was, yeah, fine. So there we go. That was SmackDown. So I'm going to run away and get some sleep. But enjoy the rest of your weekends. Hope you have a great weekend. We will be back on Monday for Raw. And hope you have a good one. And see you again next time. Bye for now.